locations and via Zoom. Classes consist of manifestation, learning psychic abilities, shadow work, and healing trauma. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
This is Psychic Medium Deb. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
With your AM 950 weather, this is Adam. A low tonight of negative 12 degrees under cloudy skies. Tomorrow, 4 and cloudy. And tomorrow night, negative 6. Show your love this Valentine's Day with a gift from an AM 950 advertiser. Whether it's a romantic dinner, a unique local shop, or a fun night out, you're sure to find something perfect. Many even offer gift cards. So support local businesses at AM 950 this Valentine's Day. Find a list of our advertisers at am950radio.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is GhostBox Radio with Greg Bakun.
And this is GhostBox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakun. Thank you very much for joining us on this Monday evening. I nearly fell off my chair as I didn't expect Adam to be reading the weather tonight. My goodness, remember when Adam was just starting off and just running our show and some other stuff, and look at him now. He's been promoted to running the weather. I don't know. It just took me by surprise. I mean, wow, I'm almost tearful over it. My goodness. Unfortunately, I'm also tearful when he's telling us that it's going to be negative 12 overnight. I don't like that either. But, whatever. I mean, I guess he's not making up the weather. We'll talk to him about it this week, see if he's actually, fudging the numbers a little bit or not. I just got back from Anoka, where we are doing our paranormal class. It's the first paranormal class of the 6 that we're doing. If you are interested, we're only one in, and if you want to take this class, that's a 6-week course. Reach out to me. I know a few people. We can make it happen. But boy, we have a really good group of people this time around. We always do, and it's going to be a lot of fun talking with them, and some very inquisitive questions, some really good questions, and I think it's going to be a great course. And hopefully, if you don't catch this one, we're going to be doing more. So hopefully you can check out those as well. So I'm really excited here. And first of all, we don't bring on a lot of local authors, and that's not because we don't want to. It's just because I'm not finding a ton of them. And Renee and I started talking about a month or so ago, and talking about coming on the show. And I've been really excited to have a conversation with her. Her book is called Collecting Spirits: Life with Ghosts, Guardians, and Guides. It's excuse me. I'm so excited. I can't stop coughing, apparently. I'm finding it on Amazon. There might be other places you can find it as well. We'll talk to her about it. Renee Valois, welcome to GhostBox Radio.
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. yes, you can find the book on barnesandnoble.com as well as amazon.com, and various bookstores have it in town here too. Megas Books. I'm going to be doing some signings at some of the places. We can talk about that later. But.
Absolutely. I mean, and I, with Megas being a friend of ours, I'd love it if people would go out, check out Megas and check out and getting the book there too. And, funny enough, now that you mentioned it, we had Liz on a week or so ago, and she had mentioned that she is carrying your book. So, yeah, no, that is fantastic. And the book actually just came out in January, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. Very end of January. Yeah, it hasn't been out very long at all.
Wow. For once we're on the cusp of breaking news here on the show and talking about this. And for those who haven't had a chance to see the book or anything, what is the book about?
It's kind of backwards on the screen here, but it's about ghosts. And how it started out was I actually did not believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
I was raised to believe there were no such things. I thought they were just Hollywood or whatever. And then something happened, rather dramatic for me.
Okay.
I was getting massage at this beautiful spa-like place in an old building. I was lying naked on a table under a thin sheet, and a young woman was massaging me. And suddenly in the middle of the massage, there was a counter across the room, and we were the only ones in the room. And it had a big metal tray on it with all these cosmetic tools that were made out of metal. Suddenly it just flew off the counter onto the floor with a loud crash.
Wow.
And I was like, what the heck? I mean, what happened was impossible. I mean, there was no one near it. It just flew under the ground. And so I'm like, what the heck? And the massage person, the masseuse, is like, oh, that's like the second or third time that's happened, always with women. She said, I think the guys get a little excited. And I'm like, guys? What guys? There's like nobody around us. And she goes, this used to be a Masonic temple, and some of the guys have stuck around. It's haunted. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Up to that point, I did not believe in ghosts, but what I had just experienced was impossible.
Yep.
And then I started asking her when the massage was over and we started walking downstairs, I started asking her, well, what else has happened here? And she had all these stories. I'm like, oh my God. And now I think the guy intended to scare me, but I was not scared. I was delighted. It was like, wow, the world is suddenly much more magical. It's like my whole worldview flipped,
Absolutely.
Instantly. And if ghosts are real, what else is real that I thought wasn't real? So then I started exploring this, and basically I started going around going, no one's ever told me that they had an experience with a ghost or a poltergeist before. Is this not happening to people? Is this rare? Or what? So I started going around to people saying, and I usually do it when they were alone so they wouldn't feel, embarrassed or whatever.
Yeah.
I'd say, I had a paranormal experience once. Has anything like that ever happened to you? And over, I was shocked by how many people would say the same thing. I've never told anyone this because I was afraid they'd think I was crazy. And then they tell me the most extraordinary story. And then I was like, wow, so many people are having these experiences, but they're not telling anyone. So it's a really well-kept secret out in the world. And so I started writing them down. I didn't intend at that point to write a book, but I thought the stories were amazing. I just go home and type them up.
You were captivated, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
I love that. It's funny. I was just having, first of all, if I may interject, I have one of the things I always run into is someone's always, when I talk about what I do, I always have someone say, well, I'm a skeptic and I don't really believe. And then it follows up with what you just said. They have the most magnificent story I've ever heard in my entire life. Like if I had that happen to me, and I do believe, but then also today I was actually having a conversation with one of the radio hosts here, and they kept saying there, and I think this is a good point to what you're talking about. People they don't have a conduit to talk to about their experiences as much. And so this gentleman is telling me all this incredible stuff, which I believe. I don't even doubt. I believe. That's where I'm at in this journey. And he's just like, I swear to God, I'm telling the truth. I swear to God. you don't have to tell me this. I understand and I believe this is, you talk to me, you're on my show or whatever. It's a safe place because this is, but you're right. People are kind of, even in this day and age with these shows being on, people still kind of have that sort of belief that, you can watch it, but, I don't want people to judge me based on this.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one thing I'm doing, I mean, that's just the beginning of the book is all these stories. And I kept going back to the place where I had my experience and hearing about more stories. And I met with a lot of people who were experts on ghosts. I met a woman who was, since the time she was a baby, she could see ghosts everywhere all the time, all the time. She just sees them like nobody else I've ever met. And so she her grandmother realized that and nurtured it. And so she would help people make ghosts move on and help them identify who the ghosts were and stuff. And I learned a lot from her. She was amazing. But I started, after this book was out, I still am collecting ghost stories because people are telling me their stories. So I'm putting them on my website, ones that aren't in the book. But still, to your point of wanting to not be judged, they will say, don't use my real name, or just use the first initial of my name. Because even though they're willing to tell me the story, and I believe them, and it really happened, they don't want their friends knowing maybe that they told me the story. It's kind of funny.
100%. That person I was talking about today, he was talking about this amazing, beautiful experience, and there's a couple things he was talking about. One actually wasn't a great experience, and that was what he was talking about. And he's just like, and my close friend I was talking to about it just didn't believe me. And I feel bad because, that's what's stifling, people from being able to, I think, even move forward in their journey because they are afraid to be judged and whatnot from it. And I like the idea that, could use your book, Collecting Spirits, Life with Ghosts, Guardians, and Guides, as maybe a way for people to kind of read what other people are experiencing and know that it's okay to have these experiences. There's nothing wrong with you.
That's one of the reasons I wrote the book. One was to tell people, hey, ghosts are real. One was to say, don't be afraid. And another was to open the avenue, the door for people to actually share their experiences and not be afraid to do so, to kind of open that window, open the door for people. It also includes the book, ways to manage your ghosts if you're having problems, what you can do to deter activity or actually send them on their way if you want, and how to work with them if they're there so you don't just get freaked out by what's happening, because some people have problems. And then I go on and talk a little bit about angels, not a lot, but a little bit. And then I talk about spirit guides. So there's those three sections. The ghosts are the biggest, angels smallest, spirit guides are, kind of important to me, so I talk about them too.
How long ago was this that incident at the spa happened to you?
Oh, I think it's 15, 17 years ago, something like that.
Wow.
So it's been over that time period that I've been collecting stories and meeting people, and I took classes from psychics and learned how to do stuff, and so it was over that course of time. I didn't take that long to write the book.
No.
But I did write down that early story. Some of those stories were from a long time ago because I started writing them down going, wow, this is amazing. Finally, I said, this could use a book. Is
that in your nature when there's something that interests you that you are going to just kind of take notes about it a lot? I mean, I'm just curious because that's just something that I think I think that's a pattern in people, isn't it? Of just like, you just want to, you don't want to forget stuff because it fascinates you so much.
Yeah, I would say it is. I mean, if I'm fascinated by something, I will definitely take notes or research and read a lot of books on it and just learn about it. My husband gives me grief for anytime we're going on a trip. He said, you do all the research on the place, you know everything about it, you know exactly where we need to go. It's just boom, it becomes your intent. This more so because I was so fascinated by the idea that ghosts were real, and I heard so many amazing stories. It was like, wow.
So when you went from, and I don't know if anyone in your circle, your immediate circle of friends or whatnot, knew one way or the other if you believed in ghosts, if that was any brought up ever. But once you kind of had that epiphany about spirits, Did any of the people close around, how did people around you who are close react to that from not believing to believing? Did anyone notice or care, dare I say?
I think certainly the people closest to me, like family members, I didn't widely broadcast it to my friends, especially some who I knew were disbelieving of stuff. I didn't necessarily, I would bring it up occasionally, tell them. And then, you can kind of tell when someone says, if you ask if anything like that's ever happened to them, and they go, no, and they give you this weird look and you go, okay, they're not open to this.
Oh yeah. You can tell right away.
But I did hear from people that would tell me their stories then, well, for instance, I said I didn't believe in ghosts, and I didn't, but I grew up in a house where the man who built this house and I bought my parents' house when they retired, built it in the 1920s, committed suicide in it. I did not know that. My parents didn't tell us that, and I didn't tell my kids when I raised them here. But when I was in college and I was arguing with my dad about nobody should ever commit suicide, it hurt people left behind. He goes, you don't know why they do it. And someone close did it. And I'm like, what? Did grandma commit suicide because his mom had died young? He's like, no. And then I wouldn't let him go. And then he told me that, the guy who built the house that committed suicide. And at that point, it didn't occur to me right away. But when I was a very little girl, I used to challenge myself to walk up the stairs in the dark at night by myself. And I felt a man standing there at the top of the stairs. I didn't see him, but I felt there was a man standing there. It was a man.
Sure.
I didn't feel threatened by him, but I knew he was there. And I didn't think of him as a ghost, because ghosts were like Casper. They were white and they floated around. This was just a presence.
Sure.
I would just walk down the end of the hallway to my bedroom and go to bed. My sister, when she heard me tell her this, said, oh my God, we shared a bedroom as kids, very young kids. And she said, I used to feel a man come and stand in the doorway of our bedroom, and I was terrified. I would pretend to be asleep. I didn't want him to know I was awake. I would pretend to be asleep. There's a man there. It wasn't Dad. So she sensed him too, and she didn't see him either, but she felt him. And we did not know that the guy who built the house had committed suicide in it. I think it was him now, but he's not here anymore. He did go on. He did eventually move on.
It's really interesting how those and that's the one thing that I really love about spirit and learning about spirit is some of those synchronicities that you can't make up. It's like you and your sister are in your silos in a sense, not talking about it because of kind of what the purpose of the book is now. And then when you do talk about it, it's like, yeah, we kind of experience the same thing. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, we never talked about it. And I've heard of other people that grew up together having experiences, never talked about it. It's kind of not supposed to be talked about.
Right, exactly. Renee, why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to get our first break in. When we come back, we're going to be talking more about her book, Collecting Spirits, Life with Ghosts, Guardians, and Guides. And I also have a quick announcement when we get back. It's a great show. If you have questions, put them in the comments. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on MetamorphosisConnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting MetamorphosisConnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's MetamorphosisConnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
Lilliput at Coon Rapids dares you to take part in their Haunted Mansion escape room. 100 years ago, a family suffered a tragic incident. Your team is brought in to find out what happened that night, find proof of the supernatural, and help the spirits find peace. Are you up for the task? This incredible escape room is filling up fast, so book now. Also, a perfect outing for work team building. Go to lilyput.net now to book your experience today. Greg Bakun here. Like many of you, I still collect physical books, and not just any books, but books about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. I go to Megas Books and Herbs, located in the Arts District of Minneapolis, but books are only part of it. Megas Books and Herbs offers crystals, jewelry, herbs, oils, and consultations on how to use this stuff. Check out their in-store classes and events too. This place has everything to expand your horizons. Located at 1848 Central Avenue, Minneapolis, or visit megasbooks.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950. Recently, I had a large order of custom designed t-shirts that needed to be turned around in a hurry. I knew exactly who to call. Grady Gear Company. Grady Gear Company is a local company that handles large and small custom clothing and apparel orders. I had a lot of questions from color, shirt quality, and what sizes we needed. Grady Gear Company was great to work with. They got us what we needed on time, and now everybody's looking great around the station in their new gear. Start your order at GradyGearCo.com.
Greg Bakun here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville. Honestly, when am I going to go back to Mavericks? It's been a while. I am so hungry for Mavericks. It's one of the best places ever. I am not kidding. We need to get a bunch of people together and like get a bus and just go to Mavericks one day and just get some roast beef sandwiches and whatever else you want. You don't have to wait for me to get the bus together. We can just go, just go on your own in Roseville off of Lexington. Honestly, it's amazing. Before we get back to Renee, you're listening to GhostBox Radio, and I wanted to quickly let everyone know, I haven't put this out there yet because it's been so busy and we needed to get past console room. GhostBox Radio is going to be the official podcast for the Eau Claire Midwest Metaparacon that's happening April 11th through 13th. So that's the Eau Claire Midwest Metaparacon, and really excited about this. It's going to be a lot of great speakers out there, a lot of great guests. Amongst them is going to be Jason Haas from Ghost Hunters. We're going to also have, if we're still talking Ghost Hunters, we are talking about, let's see here, Sherry DeBenedetti. We got Aaron Sagers out there. Heidi Hollis is going to be there. It's going to be quite the experience. There's a lot of people coming out there. We're going to be out there for that and experiencing out in Eau Claire. Joe Frankie, who's been on the show before, who has investigated with the Warrens, he's going to be out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sorry, I'm just going through the site. Adam Berry is going to be there. Barnaby Jones. It's some really great names out there. And if you go to metaparapro.com/Midwest Paracon, and I'll do a post about this week on social media. If you sign up for the convention, put in GhostBox as the code, you're going to get a discount off of it. So it's going to be great, and it's going to be big. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that a number of you come out there. And if you're thinking about going out there, please use the GhostBox code, because it's going to show them that our listeners here would be very interested in taking part in such a thing. We'll be talking more about it as we get closer to it, but I wanted to let everyone know about that. Also, as we are moving on here, I'm really excited. What a great first segment, talking with Renee Valois about collecting spirits, life with ghosts, guardians, and guides. And I just love, Renee, I just love your personal experiences with this, and just talking about just that shared experience with your sister back in the day. That's pretty incredible. I got a couple of comments here, and just want to read to you. First of all, I must be your friend Jody or someone. Great job, Renee. So no mention of me doing a great job, so we will delete her. Let's see here. But luckily Courtney comes in and saves the day. She says, "You're a pro, Greg." So that's always good too. Psychic Medium Refined Divine says, talking and sharing your experiences open the channels for all others to feel safe doing so. Also, thank you for sharing. And that is very true. I mean, and that's for anybody in the book and whatnot. How many, I mean, in the book, you're covering off on a lot of things, and you're putting stories into the book. How many stories are in the book, would you say, roughly?
Oh, I don't even know. I have quite a few. And usually they're not really super long stories. It's not like a whole book of this one house that's haunted endlessly. It's people will have a very significant event, and I'll tell that story. And then another person will have another very significant event. And I'll tell that story. So there's a lot. I don't know how many there are. There's quite a few. A lot of fun little stories. Some are longer than others.
And that's what I like about it too. I mean, and just the idea of some of these stories, the stories don't need to be long to be a huge impact on someone's life. And I like that because it just, you get to the point and you get to see why that makes a person really makes them really either happy or profound experience or whatever. Do you have any like pet stories in there by chance?
Yes, I actually have one that happened to me.
Oh, nice.
We had two cats we love very dearly that we had adopted as kittens from the Humane Society back in the previous millennium. And in 2017, the male died very unexpectedly. And then we had to have the female. She was declining horribly at the very end, and so we had to have her put down. And I just cried. Well, I was holding her. We had the vet come to our house and put her down because she was dying, clearly dying. And I was devastated. And she was such a sweetie. She was 18 years old. About a week after she passed, I was sitting right here at this computer doing something, and I felt a cat rub against my leg. Now, we no longer had any cats. And I looked, and I'm like, I didn't see it, but I felt like a cat just rubbed across my leg. I was like, did I imagine that? Is this wishful thinking? And I didn't say anything to anyone, even though, I'm saying you should tell people when you have experiences. I didn't say anything to anyone.
Right.
A week later, my husband goes, I don't know if I should tell you this, but I swear to God, he said, I was sitting there and I felt a cat rub against my leg, and I bent down to pet the cat, forgetting we no longer had any cats. And I didn't see a cat there. And I'm like, where were you sitting? He said, at the computer.
Wow.
And see, whenever we're at the computer, the cat would want our attention. Even our current cat will do that, come up and rub my leg, and because we're looking at the screen, we're not looking at the cat,
Yeah.
And they don't like our attention being somewhere else. So we both had the same experience. And then I said, yes, it was real. She came once to each of us. I think it was to say goodbye. She rubbed my leg, and then she rubbed his leg about a week later. And then that was it. We never saw her again.
I was wondering, you mentioned that it was the one time I was going to wonder and ask if you had gotten any gifts from your past cats, because I had lost my cat Linus in December. And since then I've had like just some strange sort of like gifts that I consider. Like I had in the back of my bed, I had like one of those scratching things to scratch your back. I think they're also called back scratchers. I'm really good with words tonight. Yeah, right. Makes a really interesting radio. And one day, I mean, I use it all the time, and one day I went to grab for it, and there was something else there, and there was a big tuft of Linus fur underneath it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And first of all, full disclosure, this house is full of fur. I mean, it still is, but there wasn't anything there. And it was and I just like, thank you, Linus, I appreciate it, and it's really, really nice. Leanne says, my cat I had for 13 years has followed me through 3 moves since she passed. And I don't doubt that for a second. I think that our animals love us so much as we love them, that there's no reason for them to not be around, I think.
Well, I think it depends on the animal. I mean, I think our cat rubbed our legs and then went on to the other side. However, I do know people like this woman I said that sees ghosts everywhere all the time. She has a dog that died like 20 years ago that she says is still with her, won't leave. It's still with her. And she says, get off the couch. It's a ghost. But she's like, you got to follow the rules. So, and some animals stay around for a long time, and they can cause problems sometimes. Like when I told the vet about our experiences with the cat that rubbed against our legs, she said, does your current cat look like she sees that cat? Because she says cats can see spirits more easily than we can. And I've noticed that with our current cat. I said, no, I think our cat went on because she's not acting like she's seeing another cat, but she is acting sometimes like she sees a person. She'll be especially looking over at the hallway here when nobody's standing in the hallway. And she'll look at the height of what person's face would be in the eyes, and she'll be staring. She's not looking at the ceiling or the wall. She's looking right in the hallway where a person would be standing. And like I said, we have had some activity. So I think she's looking at the spirit that I can't see who's there. She'll just look at him. And what I understand is if the ghosts have been in your house before you get the pet, they'll take it as kind of normal that they're there. But if the ghosts come in after you got the pet, they might feel a little more nervous, like this is an intruder.
I have to tell you the story. We actually told it tonight at the paranormal class with my cat Linus, because when I was doing the weekly spirit box sessions on Facebook, I would often bring Linus and he'd be with me, and I would pick him up and hold him while some of the spirit box stuff was happening. And I was trying to bring through Lizzie Borden, because I firmly believe there's no such thing as proximity when you bring through spirits, and it's a whole other discussion. And we were getting who I believe we were, who she was, and I got permission from her family to go ahead and do this. And they were like, you need to call her Lizbeth, and she loves animals and all this. So I'm holding Linus, and I said, Lizbeth, this is my cat Linus. Do you want to say hi to him? And Linus is sitting there, and all of a sudden his head does this. And and then for those on the radio, it just jerks away like someone's grabbing his, like trying to pet him, and he doesn't like it. And while I'm doing this, part of me is like, am I imagining this a little bit? Is this more of a, like, I'm just trying to project what I want to see on the situation? But I had people afterwards, and some people even sent me video files like of that moment, like, wow, that was incredible that he actually responded to that. I mean, because he doesn't move, and so it's really interesting to see those animal interactions with spirit. You can't mistake, and they're not always, even if the situation isn't creepy, it's still a little unnerving.
Yeah, because we can't see what they see.
No.
Which is interesting. It reminds me of that movie Constantine, where the cat had one foot in the spirit world and one foot in this world. And, I think they really do. I think they have a sense we don't have. I mean, I shouldn't say that, because there are people who definitely see ghosts, but the vast majority of us don't see them everywhere all the time. Like the cat seemed to be able to.
The cat seems to be able to. Absolutely. I had the same situation. I had an ex staying here back when I was doing the spirit box sessions more, so the house was a lot more active. And apparently, while she was in the master bathroom getting like ready, there was she could hear footsteps coming down the hall. There's no one in the house, and Linus was on the bed, and he's intensely looking out into the hallway. And she's like, I didn't go out because I didn't want to know what was out there. But but it was like she was hearing it, and he was looking, and it was incredible. We are talking with Renee Valois, Collecting Spirits, Life with Ghosts, Guardians, and Guides. The book is available on Amazon. It's also available if you want to go over to Megas Books, which I would highly recommend, and Barnes and Noble. And do you go to places to try to find spirits, or do you more kind of just see what you can find just through regular like your daily routine and the stories that come to you? What does that look like for you?
When I first was getting into finding out about ghosts and said, wow, they're real, I would drag my husband everywhere. I mean, we'd go to, if we went on a vacation, I said, we're going to stay in a haunted hotel, and of course I went to the Palmer House a couple times, and which has some nice activity. And so I did go on haunted ghost tours and stuff. Some of those are just hokey and some are actually very good.
Yeah.
And so I did some of that stuff, and I really enjoyed it. Went to some convention kind of things, and had a lot of fun with it. Yeah. But then at a certain point, I'm like, okay, I actually have activity in my own house too. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
the light comes on in the middle of the night, the TV comes on by itself, things fly off the wall. Okay, do I really need to go somewhere else to have activity? And that's where this woman that I connected with, who sees ghosts everywhere, was very helpful, because she was able to help me identify some of the ghosts that I had coming through my house, which was really cool.
And
because I couldn't see them, I could
Sure.
see I could feel them sometimes, and I could see their activity, the poltergeist activity. And I would talk to them.
And
I would say, hey, cut it out. Cut it out.
And it's nice to know what's going on in your house. You have every right to know what's going on in your house.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was never scared. I mean, some people are terrified of ghosts.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're just people without bodies, so I don't find them scary. Like, if I lift something up, you're not impressed, right? Now, if a ghost lifts it up, people are like, oh my God. Well,
Right.
Sorry.
I was more impressed than you give yourself credit for, though, when you did that, just so you know. I'm just kidding. So okay, so you talk about going to some of the famous places and whatnot, and a lot of us have done so. Have you found in your experience that you're finding great activity? I mean, your house is a great example, but great activity at the places that people aren't talking about, the places that people may not even realize has activity. That you've been to some places, like the spa is a great example, obviously, that it's just like, okay, didn't expect this here, but here we are.
That has so much activity, that place, and they don't want me to tell people where it is, because they're afraid people will not come there anymore.
Sure,
and they will have no customers. So I can't give the name of it. But I after my first experience, I kept going back, because I'm like, I hope something else happens. It never had again happened for me, but I would always ask the workers there, what has happened lately? And they tell me all these crazy stories. Oh yeah, we were sitting in the back room having a meeting, and a chair went flying across the room and smashed into the wall, and they had a lot of activity. So I've heard lots of interesting stories and amazing stories there. I talked to I went there for an event once. They had like a fundraiser for some charity, and there was a security guard there. And I said, have you ever had anything happen here? And they said, oh yeah. They said, when I'm here alone at night doing the rounds, it had like 4 floors, this big building. I'll go by the elevator and the door opens. There's nobody there. I'll go up to the next floor, and as soon as I walk by the elevator, the door opens. There's nobody there. I walk into the next floor, the door opens. It's just doing it to me every floor. There's nobody there, and they said, anyway, they told me some other things too, but that was kind of fun.
It sounds like that they're like you said, they're having fun, like they're being able to have fun with people and whatnot. And I can imagine that, especially if you're a spirit, you're going to want to have a little bit of fun with people, open up the doors or whatever, and just know. And like you said, with your little sack that you had there, imagine being able to do that and just lift that up and just see their reactions. Would I be doing that? Absolutely, I'd be doing it all the time.
Yeah, and I don't know, it takes energy to do that. I know some ghosts have more ability to do stuff than others. Like at this place where I went, like I said, the spa, the salon, whatever, they would have one woman told me that she put her comb down. She'd been combing someone's hair. She put it down. She turned to do something, come back, the comb's gone. She's like, where's my comb? Nobody knows. She looks everywhere. She can't find it. She goes and gets another one. She comes back, and then it's sitting right there where she had left it. And that's something that ghosts do a lot. They'll take something away and then bring it back, or they'll put it in a weird place. I found a quarter in an impossible place, and I'm like, how the hell did this quarter get here? It didn't occur to me that it was a ghost until I was talking to this ghost psychic that can talk to ghosts, and she said she didn't know about it, but she said that this one ghost I was talking to through her said, oh, he gave you the quarters from him. And I knew instantly what she meant. She didn't know what it meant, but I knew. I was like, oh, I had no idea how that could get there, but it didn't occur to me a ghost had put it there.
That's incredible.
But he did.
I
put it in this impossible place.
I love that. Why don't we go ahead and do this? I want to take my next break here. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about Renee's book, Collecting Spirits, Life with Ghosts, Guardians, and Guides. We have a lot more to get through, and this is a great conversation. You're listening to GhostBox Radio on AM 950. Greg Bakun here. I love historic tours of Minneapolis and seeing everything it has to offer. But if you know me, I like to include a little spooky in my tours, which is why I found the perfect combination. Minneapolis Trolley Tours does this amazing candlelight ghost tour that you have to check out. It's an extremely immersive experience. It's a trolley trip that starts out at a haunted mansion, traveling around Minneapolis locations exposing ghost stories that the public and business owners would rather left untold. Then a tour of the aforementioned haunted mansion where ghosts of past residents from the 1800s reside, plus a lot of surprises to discover. Next, experience Gertrude's After Hours. Did I mention Gertrude is the mansion's most famous ghost? Maybe she'll show up. And you finish up the tour at Gertrude's Lounge in the haunted basement of the mansion with refreshments and Q&A. The trolleys are climate controlled and the mansion is restored to perfection. Check out MinneapolisTrolleyTours.com for more information. Greg Bakun here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com. What you wear is important. It should be fun, creative, and expressive of your own personality. At Grady Gear Company, we believe that clothing is more than just fabric and threads. It's a form of self-expression and a way to stand out from the crowd. Grady Gear is more than just a clothing brand. We're a community. We're here to inspire and motivate you to embrace your true self. We are a locally owned small business who do custom clothing orders too. Find us at GradyGearCompany.com. Have you ever met someone who not only can help you on a deep spiritual level, but also potentially change your life? Refined Divine is an extremely gifted psychic medium who travels the nation and lives right here in the Midwest. And she offers mediumship, mentorship, house and business parties, energy healing, palm readings, and so much more. Refined Divine has helped thousands, and she can help you.
Hi, this is Psychic Medium Deb. I cannot wait to hear from you. You can go to refineddivinepsychic.com.
And we have we're going to continue on our big week here on GhostBox Radio. We had this great episode tonight with Renee joining us talking about her book. Tomorrow on GhostBox Radio, we are going to have actually Refined Divine Deb on tomorrow. We are not doing one question readings tomorrow. That'll be the next week. But we like to bring her on time to time to talk about some of her experiences. And tomorrow she's going to be talking about her experiences of being possessed. And that's going to be a very interesting conversation. And just as Renee is doing with her book, Deb is coming on to share some very deeply personal experiences. And that only just strengthens the community. On Wednesday is Abraham Lincoln's birthday. And I'm sure you all knew that, right? Well, I am really excited. We're going to have author, researcher, lecturer Troy Taylor on the program on Wednesday. We are talking about probably one of my most favorite books I've read about Lincoln ever, and that's called One Night in Washington. It is a story about the most haunted American president. Thursday, we're doing a repeat with Steve Shankin talking about stealing Lincoln's corpse, and then, of course, Casual Friday. So lots to look forward this week. Make sure you join us. Really would appreciate it. We are continuing on our conversation with Renee Valois, talking about collecting spirits, life with ghosts, guardians, and guides. And, is there a favorite story or one that really sticks out to you from the book? Is that all these stories that you've collected?
Wow, that's hard. There's so many good ones. There was one that one of my relatives told me about. Her father was a deputy sheriff and died in the line of duty. He was only like 30 years old, and he had 3 young children left behind. And he had married his high school sweetheart, her mom. And she was just so devastated when she lost her husband. He was a wonderful, handsome man, really wonderful, caring guy. And she would cry herself to sleep at night after she got the kids to bed. She didn't want them to see her crying. And one night she turned off the light and she was in bed. And suddenly the light came on, and there he was standing there looking at her. And he came and sat on the bed next to her, and he said, It's all right. It's going to be okay. He said she'd been worried about if he had suffered when he died. And he said, I was fine. I'm fine. Everything will be all right. He said.
Wow.
And then he stood up and she said, don't go. And he said, I have to go. And then he left, he disappeared, he walked out. And she wondered, did I imagine that? But then she realized she had turned the light off and the light was on. And then she could see where he had sat on the bed. And other things happened with her. She was trying to do some stuff out in the garden. She was trying to smooth out the dirt. She was using a rake. She couldn't smooth it out the way her husband did. She goes, oh, Bill, how did you smooth it out? I don't know how you used to do it. And she said the rake just flipped in her hand.
Oh, wow.
She was holding it, flipped around, and then she realized he used to use the back of the rake to smooth out the dirt.
Oh, makes sense.
Which was kind of different. So she had some stories about her dad coming to visit her mom, and also when she was told to go visit this psychic that came to town, and her husband were making fun of all because the psychic was just going down the line, giving everyone a little piece of information, and they were all like, oh my gosh, they're like, yeah right, they didn't believe it at all. And then she said, oh, and she gave the name, and she said such and such is with you, and it just blew my cousin away because it was her dad's real name, and nobody ever used that name. Mm-hmm. They always used a nickname that wasn't that name, and she wouldn't have known that. She said, oh, so and so is with you, and it was her dad who had died.
It's amazing, I mean, and it's so beautiful. When you're telling the story about the rake, just as something as simple as the rake flipping over or whatever else, do you ever give any thought to just in general how many people are missing those gifts because they're not paying attention in life? That they're just kind of going about their day. I mean, I get it, we all do it, but how much of this stuff happens and we're missing those key pieces of communication from our loved ones.
I think you're right. I think some people are just not open to it. Or if it happens, they just go, oh, it's my imagination, or that's just a coincidence, or, they just are there because of society not believing it in general. I mean, I think they just discount it, which is sad. Their loved ones trying to reach them.
Yeah.
And they try over and over sometimes. Must get very frustrating.
Right. I mean, and you got to wonder, do more people need that sharp awakening that you got at the spa for, and do you ever give any thought to the fact that turning point in your life, that there is a purpose for that, not just because some man at a Masonic lodge wanted to scare a woman, but there was an actual purpose for you to have that awakening.
I think I thought about that. I think you're right. I think there was. I feel like I was called in some way to help people know that it's okay to talk about this. It's real. There is life after death. We have spirits. We you can stick around because we have free will. I believe after we die, we have free will just as we do now. We can stick around. We're supposed to go into the light, but some people stick around, and I think they stick around because they want to, try to take care of their loved ones, although it's kind of hard to do that in that form. Or they're afraid they're going to go to hell or whatever. They're afraid of what's going to happen because they weren't very good people, or they're just going to have fun for a while before they go on. There's various reasons people stick around. They're not all the same reasons. I mean, most people just go on to the other side, but some people stick around, and those are the ones we call ghosts or earthbound spirits. I think they all eventually end up on the other side. Like the guy who committed suicide in our house, I think he's long gone. He did go on to the other side. But, some people stick around for various reasons. Maybe they never got to see the Grand Canyon. Darn it, I'm going to fly right through it now as a ghost.
I totally think so. And I can't help but think that'll be me someday. Not necessarily the Grand Canyon, but, just like, I always have this because we don't know. We're not going to know until it happens. I always thought, what if I could time travel? What if I can go back to swinging 60s London or something, and be able to experience that as just like, however that looks. I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but, and getting back to that idea of like the purpose, I mean, and when you think about it and, you're coming from a place that you were not a believer, you're not a skeptic, you just didn't believe, and you had this happen. I mean, that's a great way for people to, know that they are, that they can tell you the story, because it doesn't get any more serious than the fact that you're someone who just didn't believe at all, and now you had that moment.
Yeah, it was, for me, it was like just turned my whole world upside down. I mean, and if you're a super skeptic, you might just go, I can't explain it, but it can't be a ghost. I mean, I've heard that where they have extraordinary experiences and they say, I can't explain it, but it can't be a ghost because ghosts aren't real. They're so closed-minded.
Yeah.
They're ignoring their own experiences in order to keep a belief that's not serving them. So, but
it makes me sad, and everyone has the right to process this stuff the way that they need to. I totally understand that, but I think you and I will be on the same page with this. Over my however many years I've been doing this, there have been so many purely beautiful moments that I can relate to spirit and spirit interaction. I feel sad for people who are so closed off that they do not have that option of ever having that opportunity or wanting to believe it. And once again, that caveat, of course, is we all process things differently. Maybe some don't want to have spirit interaction, but just to be out like it's just impossible. Logically, it makes no sense. I feel bad. I really do feel bad about that for people.
I do too, because they're missing out on some of the beauty and the magic of life.
Yeah.
And I think life is much bigger and more amazing than people allow themselves to believe sometimes, which is, they're the ones missing out there. But,
you had mentioned when you had that moment with the stuff slamming on the ground in the spa, what really got me was you said that there is magic in the world. There's and I thought, what a great way of saying that, because you're right. I don't often think of it that way myself, but it's just such a it must have really opened up your inquisitive side of just being like, wow, look at that. Now I see things so differently. I just loved that, how you explained that.
Well, thank you. It changed my perspective on the world dramatically. And I love it. I mean, I feel so much more alive and so much happier with that perspective than I did before, when I'm like, okay, everything's this way and it's this way and we're all just material beings. And when we die, maybe we live on, maybe we don't. The religion says we don't, but we don't know for sure. Well, now I know for sure we do live on. We do. We have a spirit. I mean, our soul or our spirit, I believe, is pure energy. I mean, our body is animated by energy. And if you've ever seen a person die, I have, their body just instantly crumples in, and you can tell there's no life left.
100%.
The energy's gone.
Yep.
And that energy cannot be destroyed.
Nope.
That's a physical thing. So it goes out, and that's your spirit.
It's amazing. So we have about 4 minutes left, and I want to give you a chance to talk about some upcoming signings and whatever else you have going on for people to be able to experience this book.
Yeah, I'm excited. My first signing coming up will be this Saturday at Midwest Witchery in Stillwater.
Oh yeah,
which is
Witch
a really
Jody.
cool town.
Yep.
Yes, Witch Jody. Jody's very sweet. I spoke to her for about a half hour on Zoom. We had a great time.
Yep.
I will be there at 10:30 until noon or later if people want to. I'm open. I would just like to talk to people, even if they don't want to buy the book. They want to talk about ghosts. I'm open for it. I love it.
But come out and buy the book. You got to switch into the selling mode now here, Renee. You don't. I don't care if they buy. No, you buy the book as well. Okay. I'm here to help you, Renee. All right.
It would be good to buy the book because you'll find a lot of great stories, a lot of great information. People who've read it said, "Wow, there was a lot of great information in here, stuff I didn't know." And then the following weekend, another Saturday, February 22nd, I will be at Megas Books.
Nice.
In Minneapolis, starting at 3 p.m., signing and talking about ghosts. You can buy the book then, or you can buy it ahead of time. She's got a whole display, which is really sweet, books.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's got them right there. And then in March, I'm going to be at the Rosemount Writers Festival and Book Fair on Saturday, March 15th. All day.
Wonderful.
If you want to stop by. And also I'm going to be doing a talk and signing at Dreamhaven Books.
Oh, Dreamhaven, yeah.
In Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Greg Ketter.
No, I don't. Yeah. I know, but I mean, it's been a staple my whole life of being around.
He's been around for like a million years. So that's Dreamhaven Books, and that is going to be on Wednesday evening, March 26th. Mm-hmm. So I've got 2 coming up pretty quick in February, and then a couple in March, and then I have some more stuff coming up after that as well.
That's fantastic. And you also mentioned that you're putting ghost stories on your website. What is your website?
Yeah. My website is collectingspiritsghosts.com.
Okay.
So it all runs together. collectingspiritsghosts.com. And under More Spirits, you'll find a new story every week. I'm putting a new ghost story every week that's not in the book. And so people are giving me stories. It's really fun. And I hope to get more at some of these events and signings. And I will, if some people say I can use their first name, a lot of people just want the first letter of their name, and that's fine. I've changed the names of just about everyone in the book to protect their privacy.
Yep.
However, my close relatives, I didn't change their names. My brother, my sister, me, my husband, they're still in there. And if people are okay with their first name, nobody's going to know it's them, on this website if I just use their first name.
So, making sure I have it right. The website is collectingspiritsghosts.com.
That's correct. Collecting Spirits Ghosts. If you think of the title of the book, Collecting, Life with Ghosts, Guardians, and Guides,
yep.
And it's Collecting Spirits. So it's Collecting Spirits Ghosts.
And your upcoming signings are on there as well for people to see, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have all kinds of information on there. I have an events page that has all the information coming up. It had this listed. It has I also have media in there, so there'll be a connection to. I was in the St. Paul Pioneer Press. They had a piece on me with a big photo of my book and me. That was on Sunday. So media will be on the media page. Events will be on the events page. More Spirits will be on the Spirits page.
Awesome.
There's a variety of things you can look at.
Awesome. Once again, the book is called Collecting Spirits, Life with Ghosts, Guardians, Guides. You get it at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Megas. Check out her site. Renee, thank you so much for joining us tonight. What a great program.
Thank you, Greg. It was really fun.
Good. And we'll have you back on again. Everyone, Refined Divine Deb is on tomorrow. Have a great night.